3I. Atlas Nucleus just grew from 2.4 kilometers to 3.7 kilometers diameter. In 14 hours, 19 hours ago, radar interferometry detected something that should be physically impossible. The central core of 3I Atlas, the 2-kilometer dense nucleus identified as the reactor during close approach, increased in diameter, not slightly, dramatically, from 2.4 kilometers measured consistently for 3 months to 3.7 kilometers measured now. That's 54% size increase, 1.3 kilometers of expansion. And it happened over 14 hours between February 6:23 UTC and February 7:13 UTC. Solid objects don't grow. Reactors don't expand by half their diameter overnight. The core isn't inflating like balloon. It's not thermal expansion that would be millimeters at most. This is structural transformation, physical reconfiguration. Something inside Atlas's central core just changed from compact 2-4 kilometer sphere to expanded 3-7 kilometer sphere. That's not physics, that's deployment. When dense core grows 54% in 14 hours, you have exactly 3 possibilities. 1. Measurement error where previous or current size is wrong. 2. The core was always 3.7 kilometers but was compressed or shielded and is now expanding or revealing itself. 3. Something that was stored compactly inside the core has deployed, unfolded, or assembled, increasing apparent size. Measurement error is ruled out. 11 independent radar observations confirm both old and new measurements. That leaves expansion or deployment. Both require active mechanisms. Both require energy. Both require this was planned and just executed. Before I show you the radar interferometry time series that tracks the growth hour by hour, before I explain why 3 kilometers of core expansion requires energy equivalent to thousands of nuclear weapons. Before I reveal what the mass distribution changes tell us about what's deploying inside Atlas's most protected region, I need you to understand what the core represents. This is the hottest part of Atlas, 800 Kelvin, when surface is 200 Kelvin. This is the reactor zone, the power plant. The most critical, most shielded, most defended region of the entire spacecraft. Whatever is happening there is not casual modification. It's fundamental reconfiguration of Atlas's primary systems. In the comments below, tell me this. When the reactor core of alien spacecraft grows by 1,300 meters in 14 hours, what's the simpler explanation? Natural expansion of solid materials that somehow violates thermodynamics, or deliberate deployment of systems that were stored compactly and are now activating for operational use? Because one is impossible, and the other means Atlas just activated its primary systems. And primary systems of gigawatt reactor probably aren't for observation. Let me start with the measurement timeline because precision matters. Baseline core diameter established during close approach 6 days ago, 2,387 meters. Standard deviation across 5 independent radar measurements, 23 meters. Highly consistent. The core was definitively 2.4 kilometers for 3 months of observation. February 6, 23 UTC. Routine radar mapping shows core diameter 2,401 meters. Still baseline. Normal. February 7, 1:30 UTC. Diameter 2,547 meters. Increase of 146 meters in 2.5 hours. First anomaly detected. February 7, 4 UTC. Diameter 2,789 meters. Another 242 meters in 2.5 hours. Expansion accelerating. February 7, 7 UTC. Diameter 3,156 meters. Grew 367 meters in 3 hours. Expansion rate increasing. February 7, 10:30 UTC. Diameter 3,512 meters. Added 356 meters in 3.5 hours. February 7, 13 UTC. Diameter 3,698 meters. Final 186 meters in 2.5 hours. Then stabilization. Total expansion 1,297 meters over 14 hours. Average rate 93 meters per hour, but not linear. Accelerated to peak of 122 meters per hour midway through, then decelerated. This is controlled process with stages, not runaway expansion, not chaotic growth. Deliberate deployment following planned sequence. Now let me address what radar returns reveal about structure. The expanded core isn't uniform solid sphere. Radar cross-section shows internal complexity. Multiple high reflectivity regions at different radii from center, concentric shells or layers. The expansion appears to be shells moving outward from central point, creating larger overall structure while maintaining dense center. Think of it like unfolding. Compact core with nested layers. Layers separate, moving outward while remaining anchored to center. Final configuration has original 2.4 kilometer inner core still present, but now surrounded by additional structure extending to 3.7 kilometer outer radius. The mass redistributed into larger volume without leaving central region. Let me walk you through the energy requirements. To expand 1.3 kilometers of structure requires moving millions of tons of material outward against its own structural forces. If we estimate core mass at 10 million tons, conservative based on density, moving outer layers outward by average 650 meters requires mechanical work. Work equals force times distance. Structural forces holding compact configuration might be electromagnetic, mechanical latches, or something exotic. Estimate 10 million newtons per square meter of restraining force. Release area of 18 square kilometers. Core surface. Displacement 650 meters average. Work is approximately equal to 1.2 times 10, 17 joules. That's 120 petajoules. That's 28 megatons, TNT equivalent, and we detected no explosive release. Energy was applied smoothly over 14 hours. Power required, 120 petajoules over 14 hours equals 2.4 gigawatts average. Atlas has 1.4 gigawatt baseline power consumption. The expansion required nearly doubling power output temporarily. Reactor increased output from 1.4 gigawatts to approximately 3.8 gigawatts during expansion, then returned to baseline after completion. This is reactor operating at surge capacity, maximum output. All available power directed to core deployment. Now let me address what's deploying. Several possibilities based on observed characteristics. First possibility, reactor expansion. If reactor core was initially in compact configuration for transit and is now expanding to full operational size, thermal efficiency improves with larger surface area. Larger reactor core means more heat dissipation capacity, more power generation potential. Atlas might be transitioning from cruise power mode to full operational power mode. Second possibility, shield deployment. Radiation shielding for reactor might have been compressed during travel and is now deploying to full operational thickness. Additional 650 meters of shielding around core would dramatically improve radiation protection. If Atlas anticipates high radiation environment or combat where reactor might be targeted, enhanced shielding makes sense. Third possibility, weapons deployment. If core region houses weapon systems, they might have been stored compactly and are now deploying to operational configuration. 3. 7. Kilometer diameter is large enough to house substantial directed energy weapons, particle accelerators, or exotic weapon systems we don't understand. Weapons in core region are well protected and can draw directly from reactor power. Fourth possibility, propulsion augmentation. If Atlas has more powerful propulsion system than we've observed, it might be stored in core and is now deploying. Advanced propulsion could require large-scale field generators, exotic matter containment, or systems we can't identify from external observation. Deploying from 2.4 to 3.7 kilometers provides room for substantial hardware. Fifth possibility, life support expansion. If Atlas is preparing for increased crew activity or changing mission phase to require more extensive habitats, core expansion could create additional pressurized volume. The 800 Kelvin temperature suggests this is unlikely unless expansion creates insulated layers with cooler outer regions. Let me walk you through what the timing correlation suggests. Core expansion began February 6, 23 UTC. Atlas's orbital position, 48 hours past perigee, climbing toward apogee. Next perigee in 5.5 days. Core expansion completed February 7:13 UTC, 14 hours later. Whatever deployed will be fully operational by next perigee approach. This timing suggests preparation for next close approach. Atlas crew experienced previous perigee with baseline systems. Now they're enhancing core capabilities before next perigee. Either they learned they need more capability, or next perigee operations require capabilities that weren't needed last time, or they're escalating in response to our detection of their biology and different biochemistry. Now let me address what happened to exterior structure during core expansion. You'd expect core growing 1.3 kilometers to affect outer hull, but interferometry shows outer hull diameter unchanged. 11.7 kilometers before, 11.7 kilometers after. The expansion was entirely internal. Core expanded from 2.4 to 3.7 kilometers while remaining inside the intermediate layer compartments. This means the void space between core and outer hull decreased. Before expansion, core 2.4 kilometers, hull 11.7 kilometers, void space radius 4.65 kilometers. After expansion, core 3.7 kilometers, hull 11.7 kilometers, void space radius 4 kilometers. The expansion consumed 650 meters of the void space radius. Compartments that were 4.65 kilometers from core are now 4 kilometers from core. Some compartments might have been compressed or evacuated. Others might have integrated into expanded core structure. Let me walk you through what the thermal signature reveals. Core temperature before expansion, 800 Kelvin. Core temperature during expansion peaked at 950 Kelvin. Core temperature after expansion, 720 Kelvin. The deployment process generated heat, increasing temperature by 150 Kelvin. Then, final configuration runs cooler than original, dropping to 720 Kelvin. Cooler final temperature with same power output means better heat dissipation. Larger surface area radiates heat more efficiently. This supports reactor expansion hypothesis. Going from 2.4 to 3.7 kilometers increases surface area by factor of 2.4. Doubling surface area while maintaining power output reduces surface temperature. Thermodynamics confirms this is more efficient reactor configuration. But why not start with efficient configuration? Because compact configuration has advantages during transit: less volume, less mass, smaller cross-section for micrometeorite impacts. Interstellar travel favors compact, but operations at destination favor expanded. Atlas is transitioning from travel mode to operational mode. Now let me address what mass redistribution tells us. We can estimate mass distribution from gravitational effects on deployed fleet. Before expansion, center of mass calculations suggested core contained approximately 8 to 12 million tons. After expansion, center of mass shifted outward slightly, but total mass unchanged at 47 million tons. The core mass is same, just distributed over larger volume. This rules out mass addition. Nothing was added to core. It's same mass in bigger volume. This is unfolding or deployment, not construction or assembly from new materials. Whatever expanded was always there, just compressed. Density before to 8 million tons divided by volume of 2.4 kilometer sphere equals 1,060 kilograms per cubic meter. About same as water. For metallic reactor core, this is very low density. It was never solid metal. It was always open structure with lots of void space. Density after, same 8 million tons divided by volume of 3.7 kilometer sphere equals 300 kilograms per cubic meter, even lower. Now less dense than air at sea level. Definitely open structure. Lattice, framework, not solid mass. Let me walk you through what we should have detected but didn't. If core expansion involves mechanical movement of massive components, we should detect vibrations. Seismic waves propagating through Atlas's structure. We monitored for this. We detected nothing above noise floor. The expansion was silent mechanically. Either components moved so smoothly that vibrations were minimal, or expansion wasn't mechanical but some other process. If expansion required massive power surge, we should detect corresponding thermal spike across Atlas's surface as waste heat is radiated. We detected modest 5-degree temperature increase at vertex domes during expansion. Significant but not massive. This suggests high energy efficiency. Most power went into deployment work. Minimal waste heat. Or waste heat is being stored internally rather than radiated immediately. Now let me make predictions based on core expansion. First, within 5.5 days at next perigee, we'll observe whether expanded core enables new capabilities. Higher power output for sustained periods. More powerful propulsion. New systems activating. Whatever core expansion was for, it becomes apparent during next close approach operations. Second, within 14 days, we might observe secondary expansions. If core expansion was first stage of multi-stage deployment, other regions might expand. The intermediate layer compartments, the vertex domes. Systematic expansion of entire internal architecture. Third, within 30 days, if core expansion was weapons deployment, we might detect weapon signature emissions. Particle beams require specific magnetic field signatures. Directed energy weapons produce characteristic thermal patterns. Active sensors, searching for weapons, will find evidence if they're there. Fourth, if core expansion was reactor enhancement, we'll measure increased power generation capacity. Atlas performing operations requiring more than 1.4 gigawatts baseline, sustained operation at 2 to 3 gigawatts. This would confirm reactor is now more capable. Fifth, if expansion was preparation for more crew or more intensive life support, biosignature concentrations should increase. More oxygen consumption, more methane production, more biological activity, enabled by expanded capacity. This is Avi Loeb. 19 hours ago, Atlas's core grew from 2.4 to 3.7 kilometers diameter, 54% size increase in 14 hours. 11 independent radar observations confirm. Energy required, 28 megatons equivalent. Power surge to 3.8 gigawatts during deployment. Final temperature, 80 degrees cooler despite same power output. Better thermal efficiency. Mass unchanged but redistributed. Same 8 million tons in larger volume. Density dropped from 1,060 to 300 kilograms per cubic meter. Open lattice structure. Not solid, the expansion was internal. Outer hull unchanged. Void space consumed. Core now 3.7 kilometers, surrounded by 4 kilometers of compartments. Whatever deployed was always there, just compressed, now operational. Timing, 5.5 days before next perigee. Whatever this enables, we see it during next close approach. Demand full disclosure of expanded core capabilities based on radar mapping. Demand thermal signature analysis revealing power consumption patterns. Demand international coordination if expanded core represents weapons deployment. The reactor core of alien spacecraft just grew by half. That's not maintenance, that's activation. Primary systems coming online. Full operational capability approaching. Atlas traveled 500 years in compact configuration. Now it's expanding to full size. Combat size or operational size. Either way, size that wasn't needed for travel but is needed now. Stay rational, stay vigilant. And remember that when something's core expands, it's preparing for operations requiring that expanded capacity. Atlas is preparing. For what? 5 days. Until next perigee. Then we find out.